Chapter 2. The legend of the Ikabog had been passed down by generations of marshlanders and spread by word of mouth all the way to Chuville. Nowadays, everybody knew the story. Naturally, as with all legends, it changed a little depending on who was telling it. However, every story agreed that a monster lived at the very northernmost tip of the country, in a wide patch of dark and often misty marsh too dangerous for humans to enter. The monster was said to eat children and sheep. Sometimes it even carried off grown men and women who strayed too close to the marsh at night. The habits and appearance of the Ikabog changed depending on who was describing it. Some made it snake-like, others dragonish or wolf-like. Some said it roared, others that it hissed, and still others said that it drifted as silently as the mists that descended on the marsh without warning. The Ikabog, they said, had extraordinary powers. It could imitate the human voice to lure travelers into its clutches. If you tried to kill it, it would mend magically, or else split into two Ikabogs. It could fly, spurt fire, shoot poison. The Ikabog's powers were as great as the imagination of the teller. "Mind you, don't leave the garden while I'm working," parents all over the kingdom would tell their children, "or the Ikabog will catch you and eat you all up." And throughout the land, boys and girls played at fighting the Ikabog, tried to frighten each other with the tail of the Ikabog, and even, if the story became too convincing, had nightmares about the Ikabog. Bert Beamish was one such little boy. When a family called the Dovetails came over for dinner one night, Mr. Dovetail entertained everybody with what he claimed was the latest news of the Ikabog. That night, 5-year-old Bert woke, sobbing and terrified, from a dream in which the monster's huge white eyes were gleaming at him across a foggy marsh into which he was slowly sinking. There," whispered his mother, who tiptoed into his room with a candle and now rocked him backwards and forwards in her lap. "There is no Ikabog, Bertie. It's just a silly story." But Mr. Dovetail said sheep have gone missing," hiccuped Bert. "So they have," said Mrs. Beamish. "But not because the monster took them. Sheep are foolish creatures. They wander off and get lost in the marsh." But Mr. Dovetail said people disappear too." "Only people who're silly enough to stray onto the marsh at night," said Mrs. Beamish. "Hush now, Bertie. There is no monster." "But Mr. Dovetail said people heard voices outside their windows, and in the morning their chickens were gone." Mrs. Beamish couldn't help but laugh. "The voices they heard are ordinary thieves, Bertie. Up in the marshlands, they pilfer from each other all the time. It's easier to blame the Ikabog than to admit their neighbors are stealing from them." "Stealing?" gasped Bert, sitting up in his mother's lap and gazing at her with solemn eyes. "Stealing's very naughty, isn't it, Mommy?" "It's very naughty indeed," said Mrs. Beamish, lifting up Bert, placing him tenderly back into his warm bed and tucking him in. "But luckily, we don't live near those lawless marshlanders. She picked up her candle and tiptoed back towards the bedroom door. "Night-night," she whispered from the doorway. She'd normally have added, "Don't let the Ikebok bite," which was what parents across Cornucopia said to their children at bedtime. But instead, she said, "Sleep tight." Bert fell asleep again and saw no more monsters in his dreams. It so happened that Mr. Dovetail and Mrs. Beamish were great friends. They'd been in the same class at school and had known each other all their lives. When Mr. Dovetail heard that he'd given Bert nightmares, he felt guilty. As he was the best carpenter in all of Schofield, he decided to carve the little boy an Ikebok. It had a wide, smiling mouth full of teeth and big, clawed feet, and at once it became Bert's favorite toy. If Bert, or his parents, or the Dovetails next door, or anybody else in the whole kingdom of Cornucopia had been told that terrible troubles were about to engulf Cornucopia, all because of the myth of the Ikebok, they'd have laughed. They lived in the happiest kingdom in the world. What harm could the Ikebok do? Chapter 2 ini menceritakan tentang legenda Ikebok yang diceritakan turun-temurun oleh Marshlanders atau orang-orang yang tinggal di Marshlands ini. Dan dari tempat itu, cerita-cerita tersebut menyebar ke seluruh Schofield. Biasanya, seperti legenda-legenda yang lain, cerita tentang Ikebok ini berubah tergantung siapa yang menceritakannya. Tetapi semua orang sepakat bahwa ada seekor monster yang tinggal di wilayah yang paling utara di negara tersebut. Di sebuah rawa-rawa yang biasanya cukup gelap dan berkabut, dan tempat itu terlalu berbahaya bagi para manusia. Monster tersebut dikatakan memakan anak-anak dan domba. Kadang-kadang monster itu juga diceritakan membawa manusia dewasa yang berada terlalu dekat dengan rawa tersebut pada malam hari. Perilaku dan penampakan Ikebok juga berubah tergantung siapa yang menceritakannya. Ada yang bilang bentuknya seperti ular, ada yang seperti naga, bahkan ada juga yang bilang bentuknya seperti serigala. Ada yang bilang Ikebok itu mengaum, ada yang bilang dia berdesis seperti ular. Ada juga yang menyebutkan bahwa Ikebok itu bergerak dengan sunyi bersamaan dengan kabut yang menyelimuti rawa tersebut tanpa peringatan. Mereka juga bilang kalau Ikebok ini memiliki kekuatan yang luar biasa. Katanya dia bisa meniru suara manusia untuk memancing orang yang bepergian. Jika kamu ingin membunuhnya, maka dia bisa sembuh dengan ajaib. Atau kalau nggak gitu, dia bisa memisahkan dirinya menjadi dua Ikebok. Katanya dia bisa terbang, meludahkan api, menembakkan racun. Pokoknya kekuatan-kekuatan Ikebok ini sesangar imajinasi yang menceritakannya. Biasanya orang-orang di seluruh kerajaan tersebut memberikan peringatan kepada anak-anak mereka. Jangan tinggalkan kebun selagi saya bekerja. Biasanya para orang tua tuh mengatakan seperti itu. Kalau nggak nurut, Ikebok akan menangkapmu dan memakanmu. Jadi istilahnya seperti kalau di Jawa itu namanya betorokolo ya. Kan ada itu. Pokoknya jangan keluar waktu sore hari. Kalau nggak gitu nanti dimakan betorokolo. Jadi kayaknya jangan-jangan J.K. Rowling ini pernah tinggal di Jawa ya. Dan di mana-mana anak-anak biasanya bermain perang-perangan ya, melawan Ikebok. Kadang mereka juga menakut-nakuti teman-temannya dengan cerita tentang Ikebok. Dan bahkan kalau cerita tersebut cukup meyakinkan, kadang-kadang ada juga yang mimpi buruk gitu. Contohnya ini, ada seorang anak yang bernama Bert Beamish. Dia tuh seorang anak kecil. Ketika ada sebuah keluarga, dia tuh namanya keluarga Dovetails, yang datang ke rumahnya untuk makan malam. Nah, Pak Dovetail ini cerita bahwa dia katanya punya berita terbaru tentang Ikebok. Malamnya si Bert ini yang usianya masih 5 tahun ini bangun, nangis, ketakutan. Dia mimpi melihat Ikebok gitu dengan matanya yang putih, sementara dia tenggelam di rawa-rawa. Terus akhirnya mamanya mencoba menenangkannya. Terus akhirnya mereka membicarakan Ikebok. Kalau ibunya bilang sih nggak ada Ikebok, itu cuman cerita konyol aja gitu. Yang si Bert ini bilang, "Duh, tapi katanya Pak Dovetail dombanya hilang." "Ya, iya hilang," kata ibunya. "Tapi bukan karena diambil monster, tapi domba itu memang hewan yang ceroboh lah. Istilahnya mereka berkeliaran, habis itu hilang di rawa-rawa gitu." Terus katanya Pak Dovetail, "Orang-orang juga hilang." Ibunya bilang lagi, "Ya kalau kamu berkeliaran di dekat rawa pada malam hari ya bisa saja hilang gitu. Itu kan orang-orang yang gak hati-hati. Dah sekarang tidur." Tapi kata Pak Dovetail, banyak yang mendengar suara orang gitu di luar. Terus ayam-ayamnya pada hilang. Terus ibunya akhirnya ya ketawa lah. Itu sebenarnya yang didengar itu maling. Kan ada maling. Orang-orang tuh sukanya menyalahkan Ikebok, padahal sebenarnya tetangganya itu yang maling. "Hah? Maling? Maling kan nggak baik, Mama." "Iya, nggak baik," katanya ibunya. Terus akhirnya ya sambil menenangkan Bert ini, ibunya bilang, "Ya untung aja kita nggak tinggal dekat orang-orang itu yang suka maling itu." Singkat cerita, ibunya menidurkan si Bert. Ibunya keluar kamar, terus Bertnya akhirnya tidurnya udah nggak mimpi buruk lagi. Akhirnya Pak Dovetail dengar bahwa Bert itu mimpi buruk. Oh ya, by the way, Pak Dovetail dan Ibu Beamish ini, ibunya si Bert ini, mereka tuh teman, udah kenal baik lah, teman semasa sekolah dulu. Nah, Pak Dovetail ini merasa bersalah kan, karena gara-gara ceritanya dia si Bert ini mimpi buruk. Kebetulan Pak Dovetail ini adalah tukang kayu terbaik di Showville, makanya dia memutuskan untuk membuatkan si Bert ini mainan Ikebok dari kayu. Bentuknya itu ada mulut yang tersenyum lebar, giginya putih, dan ada cakarnya yang besar. Akhirnya mainan itu jadi favoritnya Bert. Nah, di akhir cerita ini tuh diceritakan, siapapun di negara ini kalau tahu bahwa akan ada masalah besar gara-gara mitos Ikebok ini, mereka pasti akan tertawa. Karena mereka merasa kerajaan mereka itu kerajaan yang paling happy di dunia ini. Emangnya si Ikebok ini bisa apa sih? Nanti kira-kira di chapter 3 akan terjadi apa ya? Kayaknya bakal ada masalah seru ini. Mau tahu? Stay tune terus ya di channel ini untuk cerita di Ikebok selanjutnya. Okay, my name is Danny. Thank you very much and see you later. Bye.